Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness, day 243 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. All right. All right, let's jump into this meditation routine. I will see you guys on the other side. Wow. Visions from afar. Hey, on the bright side, we went pending on that monster mansion up in Everett. How awesome is that? Good morning, everybody. Marcus, what's up, brother? Happy Thursday. Auntie Luisa, good morning. Good morning. Brandon, good morning. All right. So we just finished our meditation routine, and now we're getting into our reading routine. So I will see you guys on the other side. Or I should say, I will see you all on the other side. Alrighty. Welcome back. Okay, so we just finished our reading routine, and now we're jumping into our journaling routine. So in our journaling routine, I usually like to write about what I'm most grateful for. And in the morning, that is for waking up and being in perfect health. Two things I'm most grateful for in the morning. And then I go back to yesterday, show my respects to any experiences or anything um, that I learned, anything really, and I just say thank you and show gratitude for those things. And then anything moving forward, anything that I wish to manifest or create for myself, I go ahead and write those down. So three different levels that you can write about. And if you have any questions about it, let me know, and I'll see you all on the other side. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. So, not too much to go over today in the book, but we did start a new chapter, and it's called "The Discovery of Inner Peace." And I think the biggest concept in this chapter is the phrase, "This too will pass." Say it after me. This too will pass. One more time. This too will pass. That is the phrase that we should be very comfortable and highly identified with as pertains to um, experiences. So remember, living enlightened life or in a collective conscious life means that you live in between the space of good or bad, right? An act of judgment on something that provides perspective or whatever else. So what I'm saying here is this too shall pass. Whether it's a really good experience, enjoy the experience, go through the experience, right? Whatever it is, and feel enriched by that experience. But just know that that too shall pass, right? That feeling, that experience, that success, that milestone reach, will pass. Same thing with negative. So anything that brings negative emotions within you, anything uh, that any realizations that you have, whatever it may be, whatever side you're on, good or bad, or just being right in the middle, um, for the sake of being very balanced, this too shall pass. You will pass these experiences. But what does that do? What does that mean, right? Well, that means that when you do that, you start to illustrate the wisdom of non-judgment. Non-resistance, non-judgment, and non-attachment are the three aspects of true freedom and enlightened living. And I think to add on to those, the biggest thing, and we've been saying this since day one, um, non-judgment's a big one. Non-resistance is something that's really a little bit newer, and then non-attachment to physical things isn't so new. Something we were kind of talking about. So not being attached to physical things, right? Living in two separate realities, spiritual and physical. And I would add love in there too, because love is a big one. When you operate from a place of love and you check in when you're experiencing something, you ask yourself the question, am I operating from a space of love? Um, and then again, the non-judgment part, it's a really big one too. Not to judge people by the way they show up, and then to have enough love and inner peace to allow them back into a space uh, to experience with them once again. So once you see and accept the transience of all things and the inevitability of change, you can enjoy the pleasures of the world while they last without fear or loss or anxiety about the future. I would probably say um, in the last 243 days, last 8 months, getting up like this every day, it has been very transformational, but it's also has been like formulation of routine. And so when I go to when I'm doing certain things, right, I get this feeling of like not anxiety, but this feeling of like anxiousness, like that I should be doing something else more productive or not productive. Mm, I should be doing things to help me reach my goal faster rather than enjoying the moment. And so I think by come time, 365 comes around, or even now, we don't have to wait till 365. because we can change our mind today and everything can change. I think that while you're on the journey, you just remember that um, spending quality time doing things that you like to do is really important, not to lose sight of that. Because what's going to happen is at the end, right, when we go into our off season, um, of grinding and working and not necessarily not building, we'll be building forever our whole lives. But my point here is that once you go into the off season, you'll still be working, but the workload will be a little bit lighter. And I don't know what that looks like yet because I haven't done it. But you want to be able to degress, like slowly come off of it, because like going hard every single day is one thing. And maybe I don't know if it's just me or if I'm, but I don't think so. So going hard every single day and having your mind constantly racing about how you can be the best, or being at peace with all of that. Really, at the end of the day, just being at peace. But still striving and putting in the man hours, right? Physical labor to get to where you want to be. You have to be able to take a couple steps back, right? Not a couple steps back. Well, yeah, a couple steps back and then catapult yourself forward again, in the event we continue. So hopefully that makes sense. When you are no longer totally identified with forms, consciousness, who you are, becomes freed from its imprisonment in form. This freedom is the arising of inner space. It comes as stillness, a subtle peace deep within you. Even in the face of something seemingly bad, this too will pass. Suddenly, there is a space around the event. There is also space around the emotional highs and lows, even around pain. And above all, there is space between your thoughts. And from that space emanates a peace that is not of this world, because this world is form and the peace is space. This is the peace of God. So as we move along this journey, a really, really important thing to pick up will be to be identified with space. So with the spiritual realm of the world. A lot of people live in the reality world, of the reality space of the world, the physical world, the material world, the form world. But to truly elevate to the next level, you have to identify and see the dimension of empty space, of just being. Nothing altering your perspective, nothing nothing altering, who you are, blocking out, comparisons, blocking out successes of other people, celebrating, but never being distracted by what somebody else is doing. Just focused on your space. It's all about you. It's your show. And then when you find that inner peace, the more and more you do that, as you go into your off season, which will be at 365, right? Let's say, for example, then you will then now know and be prepared to take a couple steps back, right? And degress a little bit, find that peace within, and then catapult yourself forward. And as you're moving around in that space, it's going to be important too, because every step that you move toward being more enlightened is the better that it is for. Sorry, 1 second. Every step that you take to moving forward is a step to help, build a collective consciousness of people around you. So you can participate in the dance of creation and be active without attachment to outcome and without placing unreasonable demands upon the world. Fulfill me, make me happy, make me feel safe, tell me who I am. The world cannot give you those things. And when you no longer have such expectations, all self-created suffering comes to an end. All, all self, all such suffering is due to an over-evaluation of form and unawareness of the dimension of inner space. When that dimension is present in your life, you can enjoy things, experiences, and pleasures of the senses without losing yourself in them, without inner attachment to them. That is to say, without becoming addicted to the world. That explains perfectly what I was just trying to talk about. Um, so, upon the success of becoming more enlightened, right, on the journey, the more you find that inner peace within you, as I mentioned, you can increase and boost the collective consciousness of people that you manifest around you. So what ends up happening is when you take responsibility for your reality and your thoughts, things that you put into the universe, you become one with the dimension of presence. And then when you become one with that dimension of presence, now, right, when you go out and you feel this anxious feeling like, oh, I should be doing something else, that's helping me toward my goal, you are now able to enjoy those physical or those form type experiences and not feel worried or not feel out of balance that you're not moving towards your goal, right? Which is also kind of a physical thing. But the way that I see moving toward my actual goal is that I'm in the zone. And when you get into the zone, you're not like they say in this book, Relentless. Like the zone is defined as like a very, very high, intense, focused, like uninterruptible, like place for a person to be in. For you to be in the zone means you are absolutely, just like the book says, unstoppable. And um so it's not, and when you get into the zone doing what you love or just mentally putting yourself in the zone. I do what I love, so it's easier for me to get into the zone. But when I get into the zone, it's not something where I feel like my senses, like I feel limitless, like I truly have zero limitations. And my mind just goes and I just focus. And it's fun, but you have to be able to come back, you know, come out of the zone, I guess you could say. Um, because when you're in the zone, you don't care about anything except for getting the objective, right? Getting the goal, whatever it is, helping somebody buy a house, helping somebody sell a house. The zone is like a totally different space. It's like I said, it's an infinite space. It's like a God form. It's very interesting space to be in. The way that it feels and everything about it. So, but having that peace and bringing that peace, with finding that peace and knowing that peace within you, you don't get distracted by always being in the zone. You don't always have to be in the zone. You're always sharp, right? You're always in the zone. But to that level, when you're doing what you're doing, you have to be able to come back. And so now I'm mentally preparing everyone because I've thought about this 365 days later. What's the exit? When do you go to your off season? What does the off season look like? And what do you feel like during that off season? And so as we move through this, I'm like, okay, what does it look like to reach 365 days for me? And what do I do? And so that's what we're working out now as we go, rather than waiting for it to show up. And then we're like, oh, well, now I can't relax because I've been in a 365-day meditative state, just grinding and staying focused and sharp on everything that I'm doing, right? So object consciousness and space consciousness. Most people's lives are cluttered up with things, material things to do, things to think about. Their lives are like the history of humanity, which Winston Churchill defined to as one damn thing after another. Their minds are filled up with clutter of thoughts, one thought after another. This is a dimension of object consciousness that is many people's predominant reality. And that is why their lives are so out of balance. Object consciousness needs to be balanced by space consciousness. There you go. For sanity to return to our planet and for humanity to fulfill its destiny. The arising of space consciousness is the next stage in evolution for humanity. So there you go. We're ahead of the curve. All of this stuff that we're doing, we're ahead of the curve. Everybody else out there who's been doing this for years, they're ahead of the curve. To meditate and to be one with yourself and to identify with the non-existent space, right? The dimension that we cannot see. To be aligned with that, we are ahead of the curve. All of humanity will eventually get there. And some philosophers are saying that we are past the technological era. So we've been in technology for a while. Now we're stepping into the consciousness era. So we're pretty much the founding fathers, or I'm not going to say that. We would be the the forerunners of pretty much using our platforms, using our technology to come into consciousness on a bigger scale with a community of people. So object consciousness is the simple idea that our minds are always cluttered with stuff. Our minds are always cluttered with thoughts. Our minds are always cluttered with opinions. There is no time for peace. You have to be still in your mind, or at least be so attentive where you're looking at your thoughts, right? Not your thoughts are just spewing out everywhere, or your mind's just constantly filled with garbage, or just thoughts, right? So you turn that perspective around, or what does that feel like? And you look at your thoughts, you listen, right, to what you're saying to yourself. And then that's when you start to identify the inner peace, because then you can turn that off. And when you turn it off, or you choose to channel your thoughts down a certain stream bank, then you start to, your reality starts to turn. Your reality starts to turn. Your life starts to change, and or you are in complete stillness, and then you start to listen to your body more. You're able to start paying attention to the environment, the energy that surrounds you. Space consciousness, which is the opposite side, so it would be like object consciousness is the form, is the ego, things like that. And then the space consciousness would be no ego, spiritual, right? Enlightenment, awakened. So space consciousness means that in addition to being conscious of things, which always comes down to sense, perceptions, thoughts, and emotions, there is an undercurrent of awareness. Look at your thoughts, observe your thoughts that you have, and then let them go, right? Undercurrent of awareness. Awareness implies that you are not only conscious of things, objects, but you are also conscious of being conscious. There you go. Perfect words. You watch your thoughts, right? So when you're sitting in stillness, you watch your thoughts, you pay attention to your thoughts that are coming through you. And with that, you're able to come to peace or a higher level of awakened consciousness or awareness. And then you can say, what the hell am I thinking? Change your thoughts, right? But you are also conscious of being conscious. If you can sense and alert inner stillness in the background while things happen in the foreground, then that's it. So essentially, everybody is running around like chickens with their heads cut off in complete chaos. And you're there like, interesting. Neither intensely swayed to the right of, oh my God, this is crazy. This is a massacre. Or intensely influenced on the positive side of saying, wow, this is such a tremendous experience. Let's run around and be jolly together. You are just, and which got into a point of chaos, right? Happy chaos. I don't even know what that means, but it'd be happy chaos. So while all this is happening, you are so pinpoint and dial within yourself as one with the energy, the spirit, the universe, with people, with physical, spiritual. You are so aligned with one that all of this chaos is happening around you and you are completely still. And now take that concept and apply it into your life. You have all of this chaos going on in your life. You have people who are about drama. You have a significant other that's not, washing the dishes or doing what they're supposed to do as their responsibility to the relationship. You have kids that aren't acting the right way. You have friends around you who are talking behind your back. whatever it may be. There's tons of thoughts that you can have. That's object consciousness. There's tons of thoughts that you are constantly experiencing on a daily, worried about other people's opinions of you, worried about your own opinion of you, right? um, but this space consciousness allows us to come back to a total place of peace. So you allow those thoughts to release through meditation, let's say. You allow those people to release through meditation or through journaling. You allow all these things to release around you, and they're just a bubble. And people can come into that bubble at any point in time because you love everyone, right? But if it's an energy that you repel, then it just bounces off and leaves you. And to get to that state of mindset and mentality, there's a certain inner peace that we have to all come to, and a certain inner love that we all have to come to. Space consciousness. So space consciousness not only represents freedom from the ego, but also dependency on things of this world, from materialism and materiality. It is spiritual dimension which alone can give transcendent and true meaning to this world. So the moment that we can identify with space consciousness, we have just hit the nail on the head with the new earth. That is the moment where your life starts to change, because you are now no longer only influenced by your reality. You come back to your reality to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But any other time, you're in an imaginative state where you are constantly dreaming. You are constantly being bigger in your own mind, in your own respects, in your own emotional feeling. The bigger you get, especially when you're on your rise, if you're building a business, if you're doing this, if you're doing that, if you're searching for a relationship, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a marriage, if you're not, if you're looking for marriage, if you're looking for love, if you are in love, right? Um, I don't mean that in the traditional sense, but at the end of the day, you are able to come to this total place of peace, and you disconnect from the material world around you. That is when we have stepped into a very, very high vibration of consciousness. Whenever you are upset about an event, a person, or a situation, the real cause is not the event, person, or situation, but a loss of true perspective that only space can provide. You are trapped in object consciousness, unaware of the timeless inner peace and consciousness itself, of consciousness itself. The words, "this too will pass," when used as a pointer, can restore awareness of that dimension to you. Another pointer to the truth in you is contained in the following statement: I am never upset for the reason I think. So two walkaway phrases: I am never upset for the reason I think, and this too shall pass. So to beat, man, look at that, you guys. We're trimming the fat off. Only a few pages left. This too shall pass comes the understanding of being in instant, like, insanity mode, where you are upset, you're angry, you're frustrated. Just try to take a couple steps back, witness how ridiculous you're being, and just remind yourself that this too shall pass. And I think that if you can do that, life becomes so much easier, because you're not stressing about a bunch of stuff, right? You're not always upset. You're not always irritated. That takes a lot of energy. But so to conclude here today, feel free to repeat after me. This is my life. I am aware. I take full responsibility for my reality and thoughts. I recognize I have the power to manifest the best possible life, a life of wealth, love, and peace. I truly believe I have zero limitations. I trust my instincts, God, and universe. I am ready to transcend. I have arrived. And so it is. I encourage everyone out there today to dream really, really big. If you're successful at what you do, dream bigger. Amplify your life through your thoughts, through your manifestations of thought. There are no goals. There are no limits to this life, period. The only limit is that person on the other side of the camera. And the only limit is that person's thoughts on the other side of the camera. So today, I encourage everyone to be bold when you are requesting, be bold when you are thinking in terms of how you are going to be better in this life, or you're going to manifest a better situation for yourself. Your reality, the things that you experience today, is not the reality that you will experience tomorrow if you change your thoughts today, if you take full responsibility today, if you know that you have zero limitations and there is nothing that you cannot attain in this lifetime. Everything is attainable, period. I hope you take that confidence with you today. Thank you to everybody who jumped on the messenger board this morning. Good morning. David McDonald, the GOAT, 243 of 365. I will see you guys all tomorrow at 5 a.m. Peace.